Welcome to It's Been How Long? The podcast about Cherry Hill High School East students from the late 1970s and early 80s. This is Kara Siegel. I'd like to welcome in Lori Goldstein Krueger to the It's Been How Long podcast studio today. Hey, Lori.
Hi, Kara. Nice
Oh,
to see you
yeah, thanks. Nice to see
after
you.
44 years.
Yeah, exactly. I can say that. 44 years. Yeah, thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast.
Yeah, happy to do it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Watched
So
every single one, so I felt like I needed to do it.
I really appreciate that.
Pay back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's great. So we are 44 years post-graduation. And what are you up to? What are you doing these days?
Okay, well, let's see. I've been living in New York City for the last 40 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I kind of left skid marks on the New Jersey Thruway. I hightailed it out of Cherry Hill and never went back. Um,
Was your family from New York? Did you move down? Was
Yes,
that
my I lived in Brooklyn till I was 8 years old, and then we moved to Cherry Hill. So I always kind of felt like a New Yorker. My parents were real New Yorkers. My mom moved to New Jersey and didn't know how to drive. So yeah,
most
so
people in New Jersey don't know how to drive, so
well, right. But she didn't have her license at all.
okay.
So yeah, so it was a little bit of a culture shock. I kind of always felt like a New Yorker. I always thought I would come back. Um, yeah. So, and right now, I am a concept designer for my husband's textile business, which I've been doing the last 20 years. I also own a quilt shop in upstate New York,
Oh, wow.
which is sewing and fabric. And that's what keeps me busy. Yeah.
So you're in textile design? Is that
Yes,
your
textile design. Yep.
So can you explain that to me? Because I've heard that terminology for years and I don't know exactly.
Um, let's see. Should I explain how I came about that?
Sure.
Yeah. Uh, so I always wanted to be a fashion designer.
Okay.
Um, but for some reason in high school, I never took many art classes and I didn't have a portfolio. So I kind of took a back route and was always into sewing and crafting. My mom said I was always gluing, pasting, sewing, always. And my husband took over his family's textile business. And about year 2000, it went in a different direction and it was more print and design oriented. And my husband really didn't know what he was doing. So I kind of took over the art end of it, which
Oh, okay.
is, and at the time, reproductions of fabric was hot,
Okay.
like copying old fabrics from textiles from the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
So basically, I would go shopping, find old fabrics, take it to an art studio because I really didn't have the skills to, I wasn't trained and I didn't have the skills. And they would actually paint copies of the textiles. And we would send those off to the factory and they would print the fabric.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Very
So
cool.
nowadays it's all done on computer. Everybody does it in Photoshop. It's all digital. Yeah, it's a different process. But I still oversee the design, come up with the ideas. Yeah.
Very
So,
cool.
yeah. So I've been doing that for 20 years. Yep.
Oh, wow. That's
Yep.
amazing.
Yep. So most of the textiles are used, we sell to home sewing stores, which is quilt shops. I'm sure everybody's heard of Joanne Fabrics, Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so all that fabric goes to those stores. And about 14 years ago, I had the great idea that I wanted to open a quilt shop. And it's kind of cost prohibitive in New York City with rents being out of touch. So we have a second home up in Windham, New York,
Okay.
and
How far
I,
north is that?
it's about 2.5 hours north of New York City,
Okay.
in the mountains, in the middle of nowhere.
Nice.
We actually picked it because it was a ski resort,
Okay.
big skiers, and I decided to open up a store up there on Main Street. Um, I convinced my parents to move up there above the store. And my mom actually runs the store during the week, and we go up on weekends and I work in the store, ski on the weekends in the morning, go to the store in the afternoon. Yeah. So there's a joke in my family that most people let their parents retire in Florida, and I made my parents move north and work. So,
As long as they're enjoying it.
yeah, it keeps them busy, keeps them young. My dad's 94 now, so he's kind of
Wow.
taken a seat back. His
Yeah.
job really is to sit on the bench outside and keep all the husbands busy while they shop,
Oh,
while their wives shop. So yeah,
that's a great job for
yeah,
him.
yeah, perfect. It's perfect.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
so clearly for fun you are enjoying skiing. What else are you doing
Well,
for
let's see.
fun?
I ski, I snowboard,
Oh,
I
wow.
snowshoe, I
Oh.
hike.
Do you
Um,
pickleball?
okay, I've tried pickleball. We went to
Pickleball on snow. That's a new thing. You'll come up
yeah,
with it.
actually that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Um, the first time I played pickleball, we were in Palm Springs. It was 115 degrees, and we played in the morning and had fun. And if I liked it in that in, in Palm Springs, I figured I'd like it in 70-degree weather.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was fun. Not
Good.
so
So,
easy to play pickleball in the city. There's now pickleball courts, but you have to sign up and get a
yeah.
permit. It's a whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, did you enjoy any of these activities back in high school? Do any clubs or sports?
Well, yeah, my biggest regret in high school, well, one of my regrets, is that I never really joined anything or did anything in high school except for BBYO.
Mhm.
And that's how I know you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really involved in that. I found high school completely overwhelming,
Hmm.
I think, because it was so big and there were so many choices, and I just didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was always smaller than everybody else, so doing sports was not my thing. Although now I'm very athletic, so um, I do all kinds of sports now. Um, yeah, so yeah, that was one of my regrets, not really joining anything in high school.
No clubs either.
No clubs,
Hmm.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Did you have a job?
I had a job senior year. If I think if you had a job, you could leave school early.
Yeah.
And I did, so I knew how to sew. So
Yeah.
I got a job at Twill Cleaners it was in Voorhees in the Burnt Mill Plaza.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm digging stuff out of my brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of near the Echelon Mall.
Okay.
It's a dry cleaners. So I would go there, um, sew up everybody's stinky clothes before they went and got cleaned. Um, yeah, so I did that all through, I think, senior year and the summer before college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, where did you go to college?
I went to Syracuse University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, it's funny because when you interviewed Melissa, um,
Melissa Koenig.
Ms. Melissa Koenig, I was really good friends with her. And her senior year, she went to Drexel.
Yeah.
And I went with her one day and I was like, oh, this is great. I could just go here. I could live at home. They had a fashion design program. I was like, I'm all in. And then I guess when I got accepted to Syracuse, probably in April or in May, and I convinced my parents to let me go visit, I dragged them up to Syracuse and I got on campus and I was like, wow, wait, I could live here. I could live in a dorm. And I was all in. And I was like, I'm getting away. I didn't want to live at home.
Yeah.
And so I ended up in Syracuse. Yep.
I don't know if you know my history. My parents met at Syracuse,
Oh, get out of town.
and my husband's a Syracuse grad.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah, my mom grew up in Syracuse, and my cousin, aunt, uncle lived there for,
Oh, I had
yeah,
no idea. Oh,
yeah,
how cool. What a
I
full
did.
circle it is. And
Yeah.
I met my husband
Oh, did
freshman
you?
year. Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow. That's
yeah,
funny.
that's
Ah,
so funny. Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of Syracuse couples out there.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So, have you had much of an opportunity to do any travel, either internationally or nationally
Oh,
during?
yeah, I've done a lot of travel, pretty much all over Europe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there was one summer after college that I had a job that I hated. I worked for an advertising agency, and after uh, just it was like being in what's the show, Mad Men?
Oh,
Like, yeah, it was totally. I never watched it, but I've heard,
yes.
and I'm like, once what the guy that I worked for would go out and get drunk, come
Oh,
back and just verbally
yeah.
abuse. I was like, you know what, I'm done. I quit my job. I went traveling with a friend, a couple of friends in backpacking through Europe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I did that. I've traveled a lot. I've been to Bali twice
Oh,
for work.
oh, wow, for work.
Yeah,
Very
that's it.
cool.
That's a bucket list trip.
Okay.
It's just an amazing place.
Oh,
No place
wow.
on earth like it. It really
Okay.
is just the most peaceful people. It's really something else there.
Okay.
It is halfway around the world. And then by the time you get there, if you go a little further, you're on your way back to New York. So it's
Okay.
far, but worth the trip.
All right.
Let's see. This year we went skiing in Italy for the first time.
Very nice.
It was an amazing trip. Highly recommend it in the Dolomites.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah. Um,
That's fantastic.
yeah. I'm trying to think where I've been skiing all over the United States. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think where else I've been. Pretty much. Yeah, my daughter studied in Germany, so I've been to Germany for a couple trips. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
That's great. So, if you reflect back on East, was there a teacher or a class that influenced you beyond your high school days?
Oh, okay. There was one that scarred me for life,
Oh, wow.
and I have to thank Robert Thurston for making me feel better about the scar of my life.
Okay.
I had Miss Perkins for
Okay.
English, and
Okay.
his story was that he was in the class and switched out of the class.
Yeah.
I have the opposite story. I was in the B track English class, um, and I'm not sure whose genius idea it was because I know my parents weren't involved at all in my high school career. And I'm sure it wasn't my idea, but somebody decided that I should be in the A track English class and switched in October.
Oh, wow.
And they were reading Rebecca.
Okay.
And the test was like that week.
Oh,
And
wow.
Miss Perkins said, you have to take the test. And I was like, oh, okay. I tried to read that whole book in like 2 nights or whatever it was and didn't get through. I mean, I didn't get through it. She made me take the test,
Oh, wow.
got the test back, and it had a big F on the top. And there was a whole to do about retaking the test. Could I take the test? I don't know how I convinced her to let me retake the test, but she let me retake the test, retook the test, and then I failed the semester.
Oh,
Turned out that she never regraded the test.
ah,
And by that time I was just lost in this class, and I ended up failing the class and having to take, I think it was 10th grade English over again.
oh, wow.
7th grade, where I can't remember, it was 9th or 10th grade, but I ended up taking 2 English classes after that. And one of my teachers was Mrs. Carpenter,
Yeah.
who just changed English for me. So yeah, so and what other teacher? And there was another English teacher, Mr. Canzanese, I remember.
That sounds right.
Mr. C. Yeah,
Yeah.
he taught me grammar. I
Yeah.
do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than
Okay.
that, I can't remember. Yeah, not anybody else that made a huge impression.
Hmm. That's
So yeah,
cool. No, I'm glad you
I got
found,
through it.
yeah, glad, yeah, you got through it and found some other people that
Yeah, that
treated
so
you
I
better.
was validated when the story was they all switched out of the class, and I was
Oh,
like, why I switched in, I have no idea.
yeah. Did you have a high school sweetheart?
No, I did not. No, I think I was kind of immature. Um, but when I got to college, I met my husband pretty much like a month in.
Oh, wow. How did
Was
you guys meet?
we lived in the same dorm.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yep,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's great. And you have, you said a daughter?
I have two daughters.
Okay.
Yep, yep, two
That's
daughters,
good.
one 33 and one 30.
Nice. Nice.
31 actually. She just
Okay.
turned 31. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you have any friends from East you're still in touch with?
Nobody, I didn't keep in touch. I kind of left and never turned back.
Hmm.
Um,
Anybody else go to Syracuse?
um, there were two people that went to Syracuse, Bob Bender,
Oh, Bob Bender.
yeah,
Okay.
and Laura Coslet.
Oh, yeah.
I
Okay.
don't think she ended up staying.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Um, but I didn't, I see them, but that was it.
Yeah.
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 Um, I don't think there was anybody else. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Anybody that I know. Yeah.
All right. And have you sort of reconnected
I
with people on Facebook?
On Facebook, I did,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen anybody. I did see. Okay, so the private schools in New York City, kind of a small community, and a friend of a friend is Pamela Neff.
Yeah.
Remember her?
Yeah, Pam
She's
though.
now Pamela.
Another Woodcrest
Yeah, right,
person like
exactly.
me. Hmm.
So we saw each other while our kids were in high school.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we kept in touch, and I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Once your kids leave, it's,
Oh,
never,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No, they
yeah,
certainly draw you together for a lot of
right.
stuff.
She's
Yeah.
another New Yorker, yeah.
So I usually ask at this point if there's a standout memory, but apparently your standout memory was being scarred by Mrs.
Scarred
Perkins.
my
So
life, right. I do remember the bus dropping us off in school and like standing in the hallway and socializing. That I do
Mhm.
remember, like little groups of people.
Yeah.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was it that when you carried your books, if somebody was bullying you, they would go and dump your books? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I totally remember that. And like, why didn't we carry backpacks?
Yeah.
Like,
Why didn't we? Or
yeah,
why? Yeah.
yeah, well, didn't
No.
we? Like, hello. We
There
were
was a
carrying like this.
Yeah, we carried all our books in our arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then but there was one girl who was in youth group with us. I think her name was Wendy or
Wendy.
and she carried a backpack. I think that was
Is she
her.
older than us?
Yes. Yeah, she was a couple
Wendy
years older.
Rose?
Yes. Remember? Was
Wendy
it?
Rose.
I think it
Yes.
was Wendy. She always carried a backpack. Or
Or was it her friend, Ellen?
Brenda. Ellen. Ellen?
Ellen.
Yes, one of them did.
Yeah, I'm dragging out these names from my
Yeah,
brain.
that's pretty
Ellen,
good.
Ellen Sable. Does
Yes.
that sound right?
That sounds very right. Yeah.
It
That's
could
wild.
be. It could be. I'm not sure why we didn't carry backpacks.
Yeah. But one of them did. They were a trendsetter.
She was right before her time.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything you wish classmates knew about you then or know about you now?
Hmm. That's a good question. What do question? Hmm. I think I was just shy and quiet, and I always felt like an outsider.
Hmm.
But I'm really kind of like friendly and outgoing. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know why I always felt that way at school. I think I was just overwhelmed.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't have called you shy in our youth group. Because didn't
Right
you
now,
you weren't you president of your
I
chapter?
was,
Yeah,
which
you
was
were
kind of
really active.
ironic,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Kind of ironic. I think
It's a much smaller group.
it's a much, right. I do well in smaller groups. A big audience does not work well for me. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I'm assuming then you've never been back inside the building.
No,
Yeah.
it's funny. I had a younger sister who's 6 or 7 years younger than me, and I never went back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Never
Right.
went back.
So imagine we're back in 1980 and you're looking out 44 years. Is this where you saw yourself?
I saw myself in New York, but I
Okay.
did not see my whole life taking shape at all. Not
Yeah.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
If you could have projected a dream job back then, what do you think it would have been?
Oh, definitely would have been a fashion designer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kind of like, doing all the high end couture and stuff. But because I always sewed, I was always creating, I was always making things. Um, yeah. So I kind of took a different path, but I really do love what I do now.
That's great.
I'm
That's
still
great.
creating and sewing and making things and yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Did you enjoy high school? It's okay to say
No, not really. I kind of couldn't wait to get out.
no.
I found it overwhelming. Um, I wanted to take, I remember wanting to take a drafting class. You could do drafting.
Yeah.
And I was told by, I don't know, a guidance counselor or something that only boys took that class. And I was like, God. And now I think back and I'm like, it was the 70s and we were still saying this is a boys area
Yeah.
and this is a girls thing. And I was just like, so I kind of missed out on doing stuff that I wanted to do.
Yeah, I think
So
I took woodworking, which was kind of like breaking
breaking,
a barrier. But I really wanted to do that.
I do
And
remember that hallway that had
yeah,
all
all the
those
cool
art,
stuff.
all the cool stuff, but we were never allowed to like partake. And I
Play with the cool stuff. Yeah,
right, like
I
that would
know.
have been amazing. So yeah, um, yeah, I would do it over again differently.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What I'm finding is I talk to people who had different interests, and I'm like, we had that. There
Right.
was
Somebody
that
mentioned
activity.
somebody mentioned something the other day.
Yeah, like ping
One of your
pong. We had a ping
kids.
pong team. You
Yeah,
gotta
like
be kidding
lit,
me.
right.
Yeah.
There was
And then
you
other
could also learn
classes.
hairdressing. Like you could learn cosmetology.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like, wait, how what?
yeah. Yeah, it's
So
really you were like tracked, right? You were tracked this way, you were tracked that way, you got
right. Yeah.
vocational. Yeah.
Yeah, we were
It was
pigeonholed into,
yeah.
and I think that, you know, at the ages that we were so like we couldn't take charge. Well,
Yeah.
I guess some kids could, but
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't. So,
Yeah, no,
um,
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So what's the best piece of advice you'd go back and give your 18-year-old self, or maybe you gave your 18-year-old kids?
so I did give this advice to my kids. I was like, take advantage of every opportunity that
Yeah.
you have. Make friends, do things that you wouldn't normally do. Right. My daughter was you know, on the volleyball team and she's 5'2" and 100 pounds. I mean, it just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Do it. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is good advice.
Yeah.
That is good advice.
Yeah.
So we've reached our fast and furious finish, as it were.
Okay.
Did you have a favorite TV show or a favorite movie or a favorite book from back in high school?
Well, clearly Rebecca was not my favorite book.
I think it was the book that traumatized you.
It is. And then when my kids read it in high school, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I still don't know how that ends.
I can't remember, but I do remember the first sentence, something about Mandalay or something.
Yeah,
Um, Favorite TV show was Charlie's Angels. Still, was that around? Was that?
could have been.
I think
Yeah,
so. I remember Charlie's Angels. I always wanted to be Farrah Fawcett.
yeah.
Um, maybe not now, but a favorite movie. No, I can't think of any.
Let's see. So movies back in 1979 were Superman,
No,
Rocky 2,
no,
Apocalypse Now, The Muppet
no.
movie, and
Huh.
then in 1980, The Empire Strikes Back, Airplane, 9 to 5 came out.
Oh, I
Yeah,
recently watched 9 to 5.
great
That
movie.
great movie, but woo, that stuff wouldn't have been. I don't know if they would be able to make it today.
Yeah,
There's a lot of sexist stuff in that movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite musical group from back high school days? And here's where I always plug
Oh, Reggie.
Reggie and Heaven's Edge.
And it's funny because I've, uh, tons of friends on Facebook, and I'm like, did I know you in high school, or do I just
Yeah,
know you from Facebook? And I
yeah,
think I may have like knew of him in high school.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah.
Very cool. I was like a disco queen. I remember
Oh,
dancing and doing stuff like that, and like at the end of high school and in college. So
yeah,
I'm sure it's groups that nobody would really. uh, but my husband's opened my eyes to other things now.
that's
Yep,
good.
yep.
So did you have a favorite place to hang out, or with friends or eat?
I the only thing I remember is going to Olga's Diner and getting French fries and brown gravy.
Yeah,
That was the thing to do, right?
yeah, yep. That was the classic. That
It
was the
sounds
classic.
pretty disgusting right now, but
Not the early version of poutine. I don't know.
right.
That might have cheese,
Yeah,
but yeah.
The New Jersey version.
Yeah, there you go. Jersey version of poutine.
Yep.
All righty. Here we go. The favorite part.
Oh God. Yikes. Okay.
Is that it?
Yep, that's me, baby face and all. And
Yeah.
just for the record, cowl necks are never a good idea.
Yes.
Right?
Speaks the fashion designer. And
Yes.
yet they made us all wear them.
I don't understand how that happened. Like a black turtleneck would have been perfect. And
Yeah.
mine was pink, baby pink. I don't know how
Oh
that.
wow. Couldn't tell that from the sepia
Oh
part,
no.
but
Yeah.
all right. So what language did you take and have you ever found it useful?
Well, this is interesting. I actually took Hebrew for 4 years.
How did you take Hebrew at East?
Okay, so my Hebrew teacher from Temple Beth Shalom, her name was Marilyn Halpern.
Yeah.
She ended up teaching Hebrew at East, and
Huh.
I was like, well, I already know her, I already know Hebrew.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And do you recall maybe Judy Katz was in the class too?
Okay.
Yeah. So and yeah,
I don't recall that ever being an option. But then
right. But
again, it
it
could
was
have been, and
it
yeah, one
was
of
an
those
option.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there when I look back and I'm like, there was a German teacher, and
Yeah.
I don't remember all these classes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think I definitely took it because I knew her and I knew Hebrew.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just with
So
anything. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm pretty much I have Duolingo because my
Yeah.
daughter is getting her PhD in German.
Oh wow.
So she's learned Hebrew and Yiddish and German, and she's made me download Duolingo. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to do the Hebrew. I did the German one, which is not sinking in. So I
Okay.
switched to Hebrew. So
Okay.
some things, and there's some things are coming back.
There you go. There you go. All right. So lastly, anything you want anybody, do you want to tell anybody? You want to tell everybody? Your parting shot, as it were.
Well, let's see. Well, if anybody's up in Wyndham, either skiing or just vacationing, stop into the store. It's called the Patchwork Company. I'm right in Main Street. Come in, say hello, or I'll take a run with you up on the mountain. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, I don't know the next time I'll be in Wyndham. I have a better shot of being in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
If
Well,
you
if you're in New York, definitely call me.
for sure. And if you find yourself down south in Chapel Hill,
I
give me a
is
shout.
is Chapel Hill near Raleigh?
Yeah, I'm about 45 minutes from Raleigh. Yeah.
Okay,
So
because
close.
there's fabric shows down there.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah,
definitely.
so I will definitely touch base with you.
Give me a shout out and maybe we'll see you at the reunion next spring.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be
excellent.
fun. It's funny when I did this, I was like, nobody's going to ever remember me. And then Melissa shout out, and Nicole Denise shout out. So I was like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, all right.
there's a few people for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So definitely see you next year.
Yeah. Well, Lori, thank you so much. I really appreciate catching up with you and yeah, enjoy your summer.
Yeah, this
And
was a lot of fun. It was great seeing you.
yeah, all
Yeah,
right. Thank you
great
so
to-
much.
Yeah,
Take
thanks.
care.
Bye.
Thanks for joining me on It's Been How Long? The podcast about Cherry Hill High School East students from the late 1970s and the early 80s. A shout out to my cousin Brad Corbett, whose podcast We Weren't Friends in High School inspired me to do this podcast and whose advice and encouragement have been so helpful. Thanks also to my husband, Randy Cockdale, who read all the fine print on the podcast hosting website so I wouldn't have to. And thanks to Jeff Lyons, content consultant and guinea pig, and to Deborah Smead, also content consultant. And thank you to all our classmates who are listening in. See you next week.